Hello everyone, it's Catherine Jahar here, and for today's TA training session we are going to be looking at measurements, and we are going to be starting with Key Stage 1. So let's have a look at Year 1. So in Year 1, children will be expected to explore measurement in relation to length, height, weight, volume, time and money. And this includes measuring and comparing lengths, heights, weights and capacities, telling the time to the hour and half hour, as well as recognising and knowing the value of different coins and notes. So lengths and heights. So when we're talking about lengths and heights, we want to be using the vocabulary such as long, short, longer, shorter, tall, short, double or half. We want to be measuring using non-standard units such as handspans or paces or paper clips or cubes, blocks, anything you've got lying around in the classroom, as well as using the standard units of meters. So I'll be using a meter stick, be using a trundle wheel, it might be using a big tape measure, but that's the standard unit we'll be looking at in Year 1. So looking at weights and capacities. So when we're talking about mass or weight, we want to be using the vocabulary of heavy, light, heavier than, lighter than. Whereas when we're talking about capacity or volume, we want to be using full, empty, more than, less than, half, half full, quarter, quarter full. And when we're measuring, we want to be using for non-standard weights, for mass and weight. We can be using items around the classroom, we can be using blocks, we can be using books on scales, and the standard unit we'll be using would be grams. But when we're talking about capacity of volume of an object, the non-standard units will be talking about things like cups. So how many cups of sand does it take to fill a water bottle? And then when we're looking at the standard measurements unit, we'll be looking at litres. Now in Year 1, we're looking at time. We want to be looking at sequencing events in chronological order, so in the order that it happened. We want to be using basic time vocabulary such as quicker, slower, earlier, later, before, after, next, first, today, yesterday, tomorrow, morning, afternoon and evening. So for example, things that you would be using in a piece of writing, you'd be using in maths lessons as well. So we also will be putting events in time order. So for example, ordering all the activities that you do in a day from the morning to the evening. We can start off with things like getting up, brushing our teeth, getting dressed, things like that. We're going to be looking at telling the time to o'clock and to past. And this is where we introduce the idea to the children that the shorthand tells the hour and that the longhand tells the minutes. And we can explain to them that 1 hour is 60 minutes. And we can even talk about AM being morning and PM being afternoon or evening. Still continuing with time, it's important that children in Year 1 know all the days of the week and all the months of the year. And again, looking at the value of coins and notes. So these are the regular standard coins and notes that would be used in England. So it's from a penny all the way down to a £50 note. And this can be in images, it can be in real objects, as long as the children can recognise and understand that different coins have different values. And if you were counting 50p pieces, you would be counting them in 50s. You wouldn't be counting them as ones. Looking at Year 2 now. So in Year 2, children will be expected to use the standard units to measure length, mass, capacity, temperature, to compare intervals of time and to solve simple problems with money. So we'll be comparing and ordering measures such as meters, centimetres, kilograms and grams, as well as looking at degrees Celsius in temperature and looking at litres and millilitres. Children will now also be expected to tell the time to 5 minutes, including quarter to and quarter past, as well as choosing coins or notes to make a given amount of money and begin to work out change. So looking at measures. So in Year 2, we want children to be using rulers, scales, thermometers and other measuring vessels, things like measuring cups, measuring jugs, to estimate and record measurements to the nearest unit. So if we're talking about length or height, we'll be using centimetres or metres. If we're talking about mass, we're using grams and kilograms. Temperature, degrees centigrade. And capacity, we'll be using millilitres and litres. Now it's important to understand the difference between mass and weight. And if we start teaching the children this from the word go, it's much easier than having to undo this misconception later on. So mass is the measurement of how much an object is made from, and it's measured in grams or kilograms. So mass is how much, and it's in grams or kilograms. Now at this stage, capacity and volume can be used interchangeably when describing how much something can hold. Looking at time, so previously it was looking at the hour and half past, so we're still looking at o'clock and half past. We're going to be reaffirming that in year 2, but we're now introducing quarter past and quarter to, as well as telling the time in 5-minute intervals. And it's important by now that children know that there's 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, and 12 months in a year. And it's just constantly building upon the previous year group. Looking at money again, so in the previous year group in year 1, it was recognising the different coins and notes, understanding they had a different value. Now we want to be using the pound symbols and the pence symbols accurately. We're also going to be combining amounts of money to make a particular value. So for example, how many different ways using different coins can we make a total of 20 pence? So it can be 1 20 pence coin, 2 10 pence coins, 4 5 pence coins, and so on. As well as then combining different types of coins, so 2 5p coins and 10 1p coins. Now it's important that we do this as practically as possible. We get children to move the coins around, count out the different values, because this can be quite a tricky concept for children to understand. Thank you very much for listening to the Key Stage 1 measurement training session today. As always, please drop me an email if you've got any questions, and don't forget to complete the form at the end. Thank you very much.